Hi everyone, it's me, Cupie83.
And Barbie0913.
And we have another National Barbie Doll Collectors Convention video for you. This one is like a more general video. Hi. There's a baby off to the side, so you may hear. Hi. So you may hear her. She's very excited. Yeah. Who are we talking to?
Noah.
The invisible people.
Yeah.
So we wanted to do a video that we kind of like talk more, I don't know.
Like talking?
We just wanted to talk. So we wanted to kind of do a recap of the 3 days in case you didn't watch the daily vlog videos. Talk about some of the pros and the cons, what we liked, what we didn't like, and like overall what we felt about it and if we'd go back again and things like that.
First, a memorial. A lady named Julie Bronsky passed away. She was the founding mom of Windy City Doll Collecting Club. It's a big club around here.
It's very prominent.
Very prominent. And when you hear her name, you think of Barbie dolls or you think of doll collecting. She had a lot to do with 2 of the shows that we go to on an annual basis. I've never met her, but she did pass away, and I do offer our condolences to her family.
And I think it's especially important too because this Barbie convention was hosted by the club that she started.
Right.
And I don't think, and I could be wrong, I don't even think she got to attend this one. But she had a big hand most likely in doing it.
Or planning it over all the years of wanting to do it.
Exactly. So she's kind of a big deal, and as my mom says, we send our condolences.
Yes.
So, moving on, so the National Barbie Doll Collectors Convention is like the largest Barbie convention. I think it might be the only actual Barbie collectors convention.
There's the European one, I think. The Italian one?
Yeah.
That might be.
But in the United States, I feel like it's that one, and it's like Grant-A-Wish that people talk about. So it's the big one.
The big one.
There's like 1,000 people or so that attend. I think we had 900 and something that
we
could
didn't
attend
have
this.
1,000. Yeah, we didn't hit that.
But it is, over the course of 3 days, you have shopping and a raffle room and galas, dinner events, things like that. So for our experience, just in case you didn't watch the daily vlog videos, we did do some interesting things. So during our convention, do you want to say some of the stuff we did?
During it, well, besides room sale.
We did room sales, like shopping.
We did 2 classes. We took making of like a little greenery for your Barbie doll house, and then the dressing where you put the beads on the dress to make it look like it was a 20s style dress. That was fun. And then the one with the beading was very difficult to do, and there was no way that you could get enough stitches done in how long were we there?
Like an hour, maybe.
An hour.
Just an hour.
But there's a videotape we can watch, so we can do it at home. So it was kind of sad that we didn't bring a completed project home. I mean, the dress is completed because it was made that way.
Yeah.
But as far as beading it and embellishing it, you needed more time to do it, and you needed to more hands-on. What do I do? How do I do it next? So.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Like, I enjoyed being able to do the workshops, but I feel like, I know it's all on a volunteer basis, but you should plan your workshops so you know everyone will leave with a finished something or other.
Yeah.
So I think it's just, there are certain things that you can't do in a workshop, and you just shouldn't do them as workshops.
Especially if it involves sewing and beading and threading. Everybody's at a different level.
Yeah, I mean, the outfit is super cute,
It's
and the person that
adorable.
put the presentation on is very talented.
She is very nice, and actually, the gentleman that did the first one with the plants, he was very good too. It's just that he is more of a kind of like, I've done this for years and years and years. You know, just have fun.
Yeah.
Pick a kind and put it in there, and then you put some glue in there. But everybody was at a little different level, and they didn't have enough supplies. That was the hard part of that one, because when we walked in, it was just starting. starting, but you had to bring your own scissors. But the other things that you needed weren't there, and it slowly got to you. So people were already working on things, and we still didn't have all the supplies we needed.
I know he was all about like be creative and do
Yes.
what you want to do, but I think it should have been like, this is what we're doing. You need this specific thing, and like just we all do the same project.
Right, and that would have been what your volunteer would have done more and made sure that, 3 people came in, they need 3 things. We need to make sure they have all this stuff on their plate. But they ran out of stuff.
Yeah.
They ran out of the scissors and other things, so.
Yeah, so the workshops, I like that they're offered. I think they're a benefit to
Right.
the people going.
They're fun.
And they were really fun. It was a nice way to step away because there's not a lot to do during the Barbie convention. I mean, really, there's not a lot to fill your day. Until they do the dinners and
Right.
in case you're confused and you didn't watch our other videos. An anime convention, there's things going on like from morning to
24/7.
night.
Yeah, you could be sleeping in the room and the movie would be playing over and over. Yeah.
The video game room, you have the vendor
Right.
hall open all day. You have panels going all day long. Like
But it
everything.
isn't necessarily good that they do that, though.
Not always good. But this was like the opposite, where it was like
yeah.
the shopping was open
Yeah.
for 2 hours and the graphic room was open for 2 hours.
Yeah. Timing was odd. I will say that. I mean, you could be wanting to go to a program and then there was something else right in the middle of that program, so you'd have to choose a different program so that you could see all the programs you wanted to see. Another thing about programming, though, it would have been nice to know that if you had gone to a program, you were going to get a special ticket.
Yeah.
We didn't go to the first thing that started, and
We tried.
We tried, but they had a cutoff on how many people they allowed in the auditorium. That was another thing. Their levels of how many they allowed in was skewed.
It was a very small program space for having 900 people at a convention.
Yeah, that was an issue.
So yeah, that was a thing. And some people, so there were these special raffle tickets you got that you could put in for during the galas and the dinners and things to get a special doll they were raffling off.
Right.
I did like that they would raffle off like 25 dolls per night. That was kind of fun.
Yeah, that was nice. Yeah.
We of course lost. all of
Windy
them.
City got a lot.
I mean, and I don't know this, like I could be totally making a lie, but I feel like they probably gave their club members extra tickets. Why not? They're the host club.
They are the host club, but yeah, it could be. I don't know.
So yeah, there was programming. The programming that was offered, it was okay. It was also done on a volunteer basis. There were only like 4 programs over the 4 days. And then you had workshops, and I think there were maybe 4 workshops. So really, as far as stuff you could do outside of shopping and raffle room and the dinners and the lunches, it was like 8 things.
My ideas are coming from a different area because I did go to one convention, and she's a newbie. So she'd look at me, and I hadn't gone since it was in Chicago again, and that was like 18 years ago or something.
Yeah.
So
Pre-internet.
Pre-internet. So my idea of how everything ran, to me, it should have been like it was 18 years ago. And you kept saying, is it really like this? Is it really like this? What happens next? Why is there so much time, you know?
I'm used to there being like 1,000 things to do.
Right. And when I came the very first time and only time I had gone, I didn't stay at the hotel. I got dropped off and I got picked up after dinner, after the main events. And then we drove back. My husband dropped me off the next day. So that's how I ended up doing it. And the thing about the room sales, that irked me because room sales were open all the time on the time that I had gone, the year that I had gone. And when this year, and maybe this is the way it's been for the last 15 years, I have no idea. But once you got there, we only had, if you came on the regular night where you knew that your show, you were going to register and everything started the next day, we only had 1 day of room sales. Because people came earlier so they could go and do room sales all the way up until that stop time.
Right.
Which it would have been nice to know.
Yeah, the show started on a Wednesday, and they were
Yeah.
doing room sales from literally like Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, like and
Right.
some on the weekend, like if they got there super early.
And they were doing fashion shows with certain designers of dolls. It was a special program, and you could go to it, but you had to know that that program was going on
Yeah.
a long time ago. So you could have said, okay, I'm going to stay at the hotel another day, an extra day. Not everybody can go and stay at the hotel
Yeah.
that many days. How many times can you buy dinner in Rosemont?
And the whole idea behind it was they didn't want the vendor hall to compete with room sales. However, the vendor hall was only open for like 2 hours a day.
Which was another thing that wasn't very good. I mean, it should have been open longer because I remember it being open longer.
And it could have been based on volunteers and them wanting their volunteers to be able to do stuff. But also, I mean, it's not great for the vendors too if they're only setting up to sell for 6 hours during
Right.
the actual Barbie doll convention.
Right. I mean, we met some people with the room sales, and they were like, "Oh, we're going to reduce everything because we have to go home tomorrow. We're not allowed to sell." And it's
Yeah.
like, why? Why can't you just stay in your hotel room and sell?
I agree. They should have let people to sell. However, I mean, if they want to use, they don't even have to be a member of the convention. Maybe that's also a thing. They wanted the money to go to people who were paying for the convention.
But those same people were selling in their rooms.
Right, yeah. It doesn't really, logically, I kind of see it, but also I don't. They should have been stuff, and they should have been able to sell after like 7 o'clock.
They should
or
have.
something.
You shouldn't have been able to tell them they
Yeah.
rented a room. They could put a sign anywhere and saying, "Hey, my room is open. It's an open house in my room if you want to buy." I don't think it was fair that they made them go home
No.
and told them, "No, you can't sell."
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of stuff, and it was a lot of fun stuff to see. A
And
lot
it
of
was
crafty stuff.
non-Mattel stuff too, because they didn't even let like non-Barbies in the vendor hall. But although there were some non-Barbies.
We did see some snuck in there, some Dawn dolls, a few things.
But you weren't supposed to be selling more
You
than
weren't.
Barbie.
Right.
So it was nice in the room sales. Like I bought a Takara Jenny or a Lika-chan, and I was like, I wouldn't have found this in the vendor hall. So
Right.
I think you saw more variety and more artsy stuff in the dealers or in the room sales. So I agree. I think that should have been tweaked.
Yeah, that was something that I didn't understand. It was like, no. And maybe it's also because we've gone to the convention, and the convention, when they had room sales, they brought other things too. It wasn't
Yeah.
just Mattel.
They were pretty lax, and they were
Yeah.
fun people at the
Maybe,
convention.
maybe you need to be a little bit more lax, or maybe if you're dealing with Mattel, maybe now it's harder to deal with them, maybe.
I don't know. I think it was a convention rule, not a Mattel rule. It's not like Mattel has a stake in the vendor hall.
I think my favorite dinner was the very first meet and greet dinner.
The soiree.
And that's only because it had little mini kind of food, and it was just the right amount, and it tasted good.
Yeah, I 100% agree. So there was a soiree on Wednesday, and then there were 2 dinner events, like on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. No, Wednesday. The soiree was on one of the days, and then there was a lunch event, and then there were 2 dinner events. So the soiree was really nice for that fact that the food actually tasted good, and like you could, enjoy it more. I feel like the food we got after was not as good as the food we got at the Wednesday soiree.
But it was something that they should have told us that we were going to get food, because that's the day we bought food, so we'd have dinner, so we wouldn't have
It
missed
said-
anything.
It said appetizers, light fruit, light refreshments, and it was like a meal. It was
They
like
had
sliders
sliders and macaroni
Macaroni.
and cheese. Make your own macaroni and cheese. That was really good. So it would have been nice to have known that and had it instead of being, well, we're seeing if we're going to have food.
Yeah.
We're not sure.
That was the best of the dinner events. That was the one that
But-
didn't have any people. Like you didn't sit at a table. It was very informal.
But the informalness of it really, you could tell, was not good.
No.
Because there were so many people, and people didn't know where to sit. And as the Barbie generation of collectors ages, there are more people that are in scooters, that have canes. It needed to have some areas that were more easy for them to get to.
Yes, so there was that aspect of it. I feel like people made the best of it. But yeah, and it was kind of weird because a lot of people have their little cliques at the Barbie convention. Like they have people they've gone to the show with for years, or they're in clubs, which is awesome. But also,
It's
kind
like
of
high school. It's like high school, yeah.
I don't know if I fit in.
You don't meet the demographic yet. That's
I
all.
also don't meet the demographic.
Yeah.
But will I be around when I meet the demographic is the question. I'm not convinced.
If they don't change how they do things at Mattel and for Barbie conventions and stuff and doll shows, no, you're right. It might not be there
Yeah.
anymore.
And like also clubs. I mean, are there a lot of doll clubs left? I mean, I feel like members. This one is Windy City is pretty good, but I feel like there's
has a
less
very
and
big
less
area.
doll clubs that have very diverse demographics.
Right. And then COVID did not help because then suddenly people couldn't go and meet with each other, so everybody's doing things with Zoom.
Yeah. What are we doing?
But actually on Zoom, I think I know more people from the Federation because of the Zoom meetings than I would have known because I wouldn't have gone into a club
Yeah.
meeting, so.
That's true. So yeah, I enjoyed the galas. I feel like just the nature of them, it would be hard to make them a perfect experience because during the galas they're also doing entertainment, like giving out awards or something. And sometimes you'd hear just like the clanking of the plates and stuff. And like your table placement was kind of important too. And they seemed like there were some maybe issues with like the AV in the room that we had the galas because there would be certain things like when they're doing the live auction events where they, I would think, would want to show like a picture of what they're auctioning off.
Or
Because
even
the room is huge, right?
Right, or even the two people that might be bidding against each other, where you could see them on video and know that, oh, look, there's this war, and it's all the way over there on that side of the room, but I can still see it. It feels like they're close. Yeah,
but they didn't
like
have any.
like a concert.
They didn't have any AV,
No.
and I know it works because we went to the fashion show and they had AV in the fashion show, so I wasn't quite sure what was going on there.
Fashion show.
Yes, it was fine. It was a fashion show.
It was okay, but when I went to the one years and years and years ago, there were so many people that were a participant of the fashion show. I mean, you had groups that were dressed as Skipper, you had groups that were dressed as Tootie and Todd, you know. You had lots of people. This one, it was very few people. I was disappointed in it.
But
So that's my 2 cents on the fashion show.
You know, it was a fun event. I enjoyed when there were events. I feel like that was the only thing. I'm like, there's 900 people, and there should be more people like stepping up to maybe offer their expertise. The one thing that I was actually super disappointed with was the competition and the exhibition room. Like, and my mom's heard this like 1,000 times since then, but you bought entries into the competition and the exhibition room. So you paid like $10 or $8 to enter something. And they had different competition themes and exhibition themes. So it was like vintage doll and, you know, vintage fashion or something.
Mint in box, mint out of box, complete.
You know, foreign doll from the 1990s. And
Something
upwards.
rare.
So I'm thinking back to the My Little Pony convention where they had like IKEA glass cases like we have in our house, and they had all the ponies from like year 1 to year 9 from the first generation of ponies, like an
Showing
exhibit,
you the history,
right? Like
the history.
Yeah, a nice little exhibit so you could kind of see things. So I was like, well, this must kind of be like that. It was not like that. There were like so few entries for a convention of 900 people. Also, I kind of expected there to be like on top of the entries to this, just a little exhibit, you know, just like a wall of like Barbies from the early vintage decade, and then the 80s, and you know, just something to show the timeline and just, you know, to show off some history,
especially for newbies.
Right. So I was disappointed because like first the exhibition, there weren't enough people who did it.
No.
Like, it was kind of sad.
And it was interesting. It was very secure, that room. You had somebody who handled security. You couldn't bring any your purses in there. They had to hold them outside while he watched them. Then you had a volunteer take you into the room and bring you to bring you to one place that said, okay, this is where all her sheets should be. And then, okay, now we're going to go to the table, and I'm going to watch you as you put your item on each of the slots.
Which I guess is fine, because I'm sure they have people who say, oh, my thing was stolen.
And that is true. And in My Little Pony, they had a closed door. So you had a door, and it was glass, and you could see through it.
Yeah.
And there was always somebody sitting there that was making sure that everything was secure. And I understand that volunteers, that was tight to get volunteers. But maybe it has to change how it is. And also, they gave you, I think it's just hilarious because I do these little contests for puddle and things, it's just fun things. You make a design, you do something fun, it makes you feel good if you're a part of the group. But they gave you a sheet analyzing your photography, and I'm thinking, how can they analyze my photography? What if I wanted this arm to only show this much of it? What if this was my aesthetic viewing of what I wanted to create? And I always get the bug of wanting to do something like at the last minute. It's like, okay, I've got the idea in my head now, we must get it done within a week. But I still usually have good luck. And it's not that I'm looking for a prize or anything. It's kind of fun when somebody says, oh, that was really nice, you did a good job on it. But when you get this sheet analyzing your work, it's like, really? I don't remember people getting that 18 years ago or when it was in Chicago before. I do not remember it.
Like, it would be like, you should show the entire subject in this picture, but what if you wanted to cut off a little bit of the head, like you wanted it to be close up? And mine was like, the frame width is wrong. I'm like, yeah, it's because I used a random frame that I found in the house. Like, so, but my positive was the doll was beautiful.
The doll was beautiful. I mean, she brought her Japanese doll, so I mean, she wanted people. She thought, oh, people should be interested in what one looks like in case they've never seen one before. You could see it in person, but it wasn't done like that. And I know they did a lot of hoopla about that it was the person who had passed away, the other person, that this was their favorite event. So I don't know if that was how she did her event or if that's how they thought they should do it.
Yeah, so that kind of bothered me because I brought in a couple different dolls for the exhibition. And I wrote down some notes because I fully expected to have to write down what they were so people could look at it and know what it was as opposed to having no clue. But you never wrote what it was. So I brought my Friends Forever Reina for the 1990s foreign issue competition. Not many people, unless they've looked it up, are going to know who she is. So people probably just looked at her and thought, oh, she's a cute doll, but they don't know.
She has pigtails.
She's Japanese exclusive. They don't know who she is. They don't know how to look for it on eBay if they were to try to find one for their collection.
Yeah, so that would have been nicer. A little knowledge shared among people that have never seen something before.
That's what I expected from the exhibition was to learn something.
Yeah.
And then they chose a winner for a best in show, I guess would maybe be a good term for it, for all the exhibitions and all the competitions.
Newbie's got an extra area of that though, I think. So you would have had more luck with that.
Yeah, but I still didn't win.
You didn't, yeah. They give you it's not about who wins or I like to see the display of things. I mean, they had a lot of really cool dioramas that were really nice.
But what I didn't like though is they compared for that whole best in show, all the categories, even if they were very different categories, like licensed products versus vintage doll and vintage fashion, were put in the same competition. And it's definitely so subjective because if someone likes, whoever's judging, it's just very subjective. So maybe that should have been tweaked. That was the part that probably bugged me the most. Was the exhibition and the competition. Yeah, that bugged
her the most. Yeah.
I just wanted to see more. Right. I thought it would be grander.
Right. And I don't know why that didn't happen. I also wish, just because they come to Chicago, do we have to always have it in a Roaring 20s kind of thing? There's got to be something else you can do with Chicago that is different. But I think that's brought the kinds of dolls we got as gifts that I kind of thought, well, if we didn't do the 1920s flapper kind of view, there probably could have been something done differently. A lot better. So.
Speaking of the dolls.
I
brought them so we can reminisce. I brought both. So the first one we got was from the convention. And that's Starlight Dream. She was kind of a hodgepodge of different people. One, people worked on the face and some people worked on the outfit. So it wasn't a Mattel gift. It was a convention gift.
People that handled the tables, they put the dolls together. They put the heads on the dolls.
Yeah.
Which I thought was odd. Okay, that's her. I have an open mind since I came back. And I felt that was really sad.
Same. She's wearing a rug.
Or
chandelier cover?
Yeah, it's a kind of on your window. which is really odd there. And a lot of them had issues, I heard, through the grapevine. So some had the beauty mark put in a different spot. Some of them had just a mark of a blob of paint.
Just paint.
Just paint in an area. So there were a lot of disappointed people.
I don't like it because it's just black.
I don't like it because she's wearing white shoes
Yeah. And
with a whole black outfit.
and also she kind of just looks like a basic Barbie doll.
Well, and yeah, I don't like that she's all in black either. I mean, the necklace, I put it probably separately on it, on a different doll, but I wasn't fond of her at all.
I don't know what to do with mine, truthfully, either, because I don't feel that she's pretty enough to display. She kind of honestly looks like a doll like you might buy from Savers and then do a new face up on, and then maybe curl the hair and make the outfit. I just don't like the outfit or the
But then we
styling.
don't know how they handle picking out dolls and stuff. She was a gift, right?
From the convention.
Yeah, from the convention, and then we're still waiting for something to come.
That's true.
We're waiting for
I
a
forgot.
gift, yeah, that didn't show up.
Yeah.
So we don't know what it is even.
Some people really liked her, or they said they really liked her. Personally, I don't even know what I'm going to do with her,
Yeah,
which is sad.
it's sad.
But even sadder is what's coming up next.
It wouldn't be so sad if we had the AA one. That one wasn't that bad.
So this next doll is more disappointing and sadder,
See.
in my opinion.
Okay, this is what she looks like. I don't want to take her out of here. Well, actually, I could take her out of here, but it doesn't really do a difference if I do.
So this is a convention doll from Mattel. I appreciate that they
There was
put the
thought
effort
put into
into. I appreciate that they give the convention a doll, because I think in years past the convention had to,
They made
the
their own
host
doll.
clubs had to make their own.
They made their own, which is, there's some sad dolls in those lines,
Right.
too.
So I appreciate Mattel will use their designers and use them as designers' time to make a doll for the convention.
This is plastic. It's supposed to be architecture, 1920s architecture. It's interesting. I think I would like it better if it was like a mini skirt and not this big, long, giant black part here. It's thigh highs, black thigh highs. What do the shoes even look like?
I don't know. I can't even say I looked under the skirt.
I don't know.
Is she
if
wearing
those-
shoes?
I don't know if those are her shoes or if those are just holding her feet into the box.
I think they're shoe pantyhose or shoe tights.
Oh, that's what. Okay, I can kind of feel it.
Yeah.
So okay, so it's like what the shoe is in the inside. There's a little foo-foo on the side here where the glove is, which is weird. Then she's got the curl up here, like a Betty Boop curl, and Betty Boop curl on the other side. It is really sprayed. And she has these silver earrings on. Actually, I think I would have preferred gold earrings or something, but I would not prefer this whole long. It's too much, too much, too much. And then she's, of course, wearing what looks like a mustache, but it's not a mustache, but it goes all the way her lip. It's just a little lip line that goes here.
It's like a little heart.
It's supposed to be a heart. It's hard to tell it's a heart. And then underneath, it's just pale skin tone. So it's not something I liked. When I opened mine, Cupie and I were at different tables, and when I took a look at it, and I thought, oh my goodness, she's going to hate it.
Which is true. I did not enjoy it. I was like, really?
There were a lot of people that were very upset. There were also ones that weren't quite perfect either. So they complained about that, and they also complained of, really? This is the doll? Really? So I think I'm one of the old fogey group that likes a pretty doll with a pretty smile and pretty lipstick and pretty outfit. This is not my aesthetic. They would have to change it a little, show more skin maybe. If they had shown more skin and over the little leotard and the little plastic part, maybe that would have made a difference. Still wouldn't have liked the lip. There are people who have redone the lip. They put color on the lip. They've painted it all black, so it's very goth. She has short hair, which I only know from people that have opened theirs and when they were very sad and said, I got to do something with this doll. So, but it's sprayed absolutely so much to there. She has a thigh high on there, but it's all black, So maybe they shouldn't have done the thigh high on there and gotten rid of this. Maybe if I got rid of this, it would be better.
Okay, there is one thing I like. I like
What do you
she's
like?
on an articulated body.
Well, how would we know? Because we haven't taken her out of here.
I know, but she has the jointing at the knees and the elbows, and probably the wrists, but I like that she's on an articulated body, so had she been pretty and something I wanted to keep, I would be able to, like, pose her and things. But for me, like, I don't like her.
People wanted her on at least a silkstone body because then they could use the silkstone body.
And they're coming out with silkstones again, so why not have made it a silkstone?
I know. That kills me there because they said they weren't doing any more and now there was one and I wasn't able to get it. But this is what she looks like. Maybe your aesthetic is different from our aesthetic and you think, wow, that is really cool looking. Me, not so much. I think she'll live in her box.
See, and I'm also like, I don't like just keeping things in boxes. Like, because I wonder what it's like. I wonder if anyone has, like, washed out the hair. Because I want to know what it's like if it's not all, like,
It's really
gunky.
short, though. But it's
Is
really
it?
short.
I don't know. See, I'm still tempted with, like, do I want to keep it or do I want to sell it? Because, truthfully, unless I, like, repaint the lip and find a new outfit, I don't like it.
Yeah. And there was another gift we were given. We were given a little closet, basically. It's a wire frame closet. And I know the two that we got, they weren't quite perfect. They weren't made well on the corners. They were slanted up, pieces of metal. It wasn't really done well. And I think they just did it because Rainbow High did such a nice job of making a closet. And there were so many people that collected Barbies that said, hey, I'm going to get a Rainbow High one because I can just squeeze all my Barbie stuff in. You know, I'll make it work because the dimensions are not the same size. And I think they did it because they thought, oh, well, we need to make something because all these people obviously wanted a closet and we didn't show them enough. Well, they didn't show us enough. They gave you hangers and they gave you this wire frame, which could hurt somebody.
I didn't quite like it either. It was another one where I was like, oh, like all the people in the room are clapping and like woohooing, so I guess I'll just go with it. Like, I went with it a lot when it came to the convention gifts. The only one I actually really liked was, well, I liked the serving tray and I liked the outfit that we received. And who knows what I'll think of the other one. Yeah, the outfit with the cape.
The outfit with the cape.
Otherwise, I just went with the audience reaction, which was mostly happy, but...
My table was kind of like, oh, look at that. What is it? Oh, it's a closet. Kind of like your clenched teeth. So, I don't know.
Because you had a Mattel lady at your table. You couldn't be like, this sucks.
I wanted to tell her. I couldn't do it. As going back to volunteers, I know a convention has to be a very hard thing to put together. I feel that they were looking for volunteers so very early after we paid. And then they did not stop the entire time for volunteers.
Like literally during the show they post up on the Facebook page, we need 25 people now in the main show hall.
Right. And people could say, well, why didn't you volunteer? If you didn't like the idea of how they did the volunteers, why didn't you volunteer? Because we saved up money for our hotel and for the convention and wanted to have a nice time. You don't always want to spend all your time. Some people do. They don't mind. They want that extra time to go and be a part of everything in the club.
This was our vacation. It was more of a, do I want to work on my vacation? Not really. But I do know there were some people that did volunteer and, you know, stories were mixed in terms of how it went. But yeah, I personally didn't want to volunteer because it was a vacation.
Right. And the people that did volunteer, I mean, you had some people that were really happy and in good moods and they were genuinely very nice to talk to. But then you had other people that would, you could be by the souvenir door and they would yell at you, no, stay.
Yeah.
And it's like, come on, you're volunteering to do this. If you didn't want to do it, then don't do it. But you also have to put on a pretty face and be nice at least because all these other people spent all this money for this.
Yeah, it's just like, can you just hang out here for a minute? Well, I'll let you know when you can go in. Not just stop.
Yeah, and I know that it's hard. It's hard work volunteering because you're missing out on all the other things you could be doing. but it's just tell your crew, be nice, and have enough crew that you know you can work. They can work that room.
I kind of think that I think the Barbie convention has certain standards that like it tries to live up to, and it tries to give so many experiences to people. But like at one point, you have to say how many volunteers do you think we realistically have,
Right?
And then plan the convention around that. Versus we have 900 people coming. It doesn't matter how much help we have. So think about how much help you have and how much you can do. And then if that means less than, if that means it's a 500 person cap or whatever, then it's a 500 person cap. So
at one point, once the sales room was open, they switched and brought the souvenir stand over into the sales room. They probably should have warned the people they were next to about that because they didn't seem very happy at all. And it's just something they should have thought of doing earlier. Why have it all the way in a different wing of the building? Why not put it all together?
Yeah.
So your volunteers are used the way you need them to be used.
Yeah, that whole thing was weird.
It was. And the fact that they sold the little hostess cart through the volunteer area once it moved to the sales room.
Souvenir, yeah.
Yeah, souvenir, once it moved to the sales room. And they didn't let people know. And there were some people that had broken items, and they needed to get those items fixed, but people were selling them.
Yeah, that was weird. I feel like how the souvenir stand was handled was just very odd. If you are going for, just FYI, you should just pre-order your souvenirs. I feel like it's far less of a hassle. Although you would think with the pre-ordering, it would have been nice if there had been some way to say, like, I'm at this hotel, like, this is my room number.
Oh, and have
just someone drop off, like, what you ordered. Because we had to wait in line for, like, 45 minutes to then pick up our stuff.
But they wanted to look on that list to make sure that you paid your tax because of the tax goof up.
But I wonder if that's something they could do where they would just be like, oh, well, you're here. Or when you register, they could just have what you pre-ordered and be like, here you go. I don't know. But it seemed like that was kind of weird. And also they didn't have enough volunteers to run it.
They didn't have enough. And they kind of worked people to death.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I had fun at the traveling doll program.
That was
I thought
fun.
that was fun. I mean, it was very simple, but it was fun.
And it wasn't even an official event.
No.
But it was a nice group of people.
It was.
I think we've touched on the majority of things.
Would we go back to the main thing?
Yeah, so as always, there's been 1,000 tangents. I feel like we've told you a lot about like kind of what we liked, and we told you a lot about what we didn't like. I will say what I liked specifically was room shopping, and I did like the vendor hall, except the vendor hall was a little disappointing because I expected more from the vendor hall than I got.
Right.
I did find some amazing things there, but also I expected a little more.
I expected more rare things that were really pricey that you said, hey, if I'm going to go to a convention once in 10 years, then I want to get something really, really nice. I had trouble finding that perfect example that I wanted, so I was kind of sad. It was kind of like, oh, it's like a regular doll show that we normally have in our town.
Yeah, I expected like TIFF, for example, to be there, but there wasn't a single TIFF. But I thought of all the shows that multiple people might bring one, it would be the Barbie convention. I also thought the vendor room was kind of, prejudice is the wrong word, but like they didn't have a lot of like modern dolls. It was very vintage. And they also had like the expensive silk stones, but also like vintage. Yeah. So like Pink Box and like Skippers the anime Skippers that I collect, there were so few of those.
Mycene.
Yeah, no Mycene. Like it was very much for like the collector that collects either the high-end fashion doll or the vintage fashion doll. So that was disappointing. But I did like the shopping. I think the shopping was a positive.
On the travel dolls, I thought it was funny because I brought a Mycene with me. Some people have never seen Mycenes. I don't know where they've been, but they only collect that little tiny bit. Excuse me, can I have my hair? Thank you. Oh.
Other positives that I thought was obviously meeting people, because we hung out with people we don't usually see all the time, which was great. Just talking to some of the other collectors was really nice. I liked that Barbie signature Barbie thing, although we again had to wait in line for 45 minutes. But I liked that.
Well, that they needed to get their computer stuff together and before it had started and know that some people's names might be different on their list. So they should have figured that out
And
sooner.
I did like the idea of the dinner events. I like that kind because you got to get dressed up. Like I think what I liked was like we could get dressed up and we could put on makeup and like put on a fancy dress after 2 years of like having no reason to do so. So I liked that. I think the food was but my table mates were fun, so, you know, that was kind of fun getting to meet everyone. I feel like I didn't get to bond as much with them. Like, I just sat at the table with them for
Well, I did too.
things.
Mine was
Like-
that way too. Yeah.
But also, like, they were, like, I came with my mom, and, like, if I had gone separately, maybe I would have tried to bond better, but it still was a good group, and I love the table. I love the idea of table gifts. Like, love. If it had they not done table gifts, I would have come home with the things I bought, which I love, and convention dolls that I hate. Like, the table gifts,
You got
I
really
actually
nice stuff.
like.
You got nice things.
So did you. But yeah, my people were so crafty. I'm like, this is so cool that everyone should do this. Like, if you have
Yeah, how could you not go to one that wasn't a gifting table?
I
Was it
know.
fun? Excuse me, you're
Yeah.
pulling my hair.
So it was, I love the idea
Nope.
of table gifts,
Nope.
and I hope any other convention that does galas, they should take that up, because it was so much fun.
Another positive was we did have a couple of friends.
Yeah, we did meet up with a lot of people, Charlene and Anna. We met up with Natalia and Hannah. And we met a bunch of cool people who said they watched the channel as well.
Thank
So
you.
that was really
Madam
fun.
Mayor.
They
Yeah, it was
made
fun.
it,
We got
yeah.
to go run around and room shop on that one day that we were allowed to and stay up as long as we could. That was a lot of fun.
We literally shopped till like midnight.
And that's what you're supposed to do. That's what I did when I came the first time. Your father picked me up later, and I said, you know, can I go run around? And yeah, and it was fun.
But yeah, for me that was basically the pros. I just liked the shopping and the people. You know, the programs were okay. I like that they were offered, but they didn't allow for enough people in them. And
But-
it was like there would only be like one. Like it would be like they're only doing this program once, and it's the specific time slot.
Right. The club, the music, the
Oh,
bar.
they had like this tiny little room with tables dressed up. It was dressed up like a speakeasy sort
Yeah.
of. But we got a cool pin from
You
that,
got a
so I'm
pin,
glad
yeah.
we wandered through. That was interesting.
It was interesting. What else did they do? Seriously, if they did it again, like next year, I probably wouldn't stay at a hotel.
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably still go to the convention, but I wouldn't stay at the hotel. Or I would just do all the room sales and just travel back and forth.
Like my mom, I would go again if it was offered, even though this was a crummy convention doll, because it was fun. There were certain aspects of it I really enjoyed, and I think it all depends on the club that's planning it and like how it's all organized. So I feel like each year is a different sort of experience. Hi. But I think the most, like, I'd probably do room sales, and maybe, yeah, you don't have to stay in the hotel for as long as it is, because there were certain days where there were huge blocks of time where there was nothing going on. So Hallmark is a sponsor of the event, and they do like a yearly shoe exclusive ornament every year.
I'm not into the shoe ornament.
Yeah, I wasn't
I've got one.
either. And usually they're on site, and there's a whole lot of hoopla about getting in line early enough to get this ornament, because they don't make 900 of them. They don't make one like for every convention goer.
Silly.
They only make like, I don't even want to say a number, but they make less. So there's no, like, Hallmark controls the number of ornaments they make. This year, however, Hallmark was not on site. They sponsored one of the dinners. They didn't have a representative there. They didn't have a table. Like,
A sign.
there wasn't even in the exhibition room a shelf with all the ornaments. Like, so really, like, if you didn't know there was a Hallmark ornament and you don't check your emails, you'd have no idea. Because they didn't even put it up on the screen during the gala. So it just wasn't there. And they did an online sale like a week after the convention. So apparently it was available for like 45 minutes before it sold out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But then it did end up selling out. But yeah.
But they didn't put real sequins on it.
I saw that.
Yeah.
That was cheap
It,
on Hallmark's
it's
parts.
printed sequins on it.
so cheap, but I'm not surprised because I've talked to my mom about all the drama that goes on in the Hallmark groups.
So much drama. Their quality has gone downhill so quickly. Shipping, you get broken boxes, you get marks on your ornaments, and people go to the Hallmark store and they say, I want to look at my order first before I leave, and they go, you just bought $100 worth of ornaments. She goes, yeah, but I know what's going to happen. I want to make sure they're all perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible.
So they were not on site at the actual show, which I guess was weird because I got an email from someone who runs a Hallmark site after she'd seen our coverage, and she was like, well, can you tell me anything about this ornament, because I can't find any like online footprint that it exists. And then I kind of pointed out that they weren't there were no pictures, and I gave her the link to like the exclusive ordering page just so she could get the details she wanted. But it must have been very odd. So I don't know what the deal is, because isn't Hallmark like not too far from here?
Missouri.
It's not too far from here.
I think it's Missouri. Or Kansas? I can't remember now.
Kansas City, Missouri.
Kansas City, Missouri. There you go.
Well, from what this Hallmark lady said, she was also surprised they weren't here because they are very close to Chicago.
That is weird.
So yeah, there was that.
I did have to laugh with the outfit that we didn't get in the mail that never arrived to the convention. And it was like, they're kind of like, oh, you know how mail is now and deliveries. It's like, yeah, but you're a business. You know how it is. You should have made sure that the stuff got sent to the convention hall in enough time.
And they were like, maybe we'll get it by the end of the show. And then the end of the show came, they're like, you'll get it in the mail.
It to you. So now everybody's waiting and saying, did anybody get their gift? So we don't even know what it is.
I'm keeping my expectations very low.
Oh, no, I wouldn't. I'm going to say it's something nice because the other outfit was very nice.
Yeah, but that wasn't a convention. That wasn't from Mattel. That was a convention gift.
Well, they still got it from them.
No, they didn't sew. There was someone else who sewed it.
Really?
It wasn't Mattel that sewed it.
Really?
Yeah. If you look at the Facebook group, it was someone else that they mentioned who sewed it. They didn't say it was like a Mattel designer who did it.
Really?
Yeah. So that was the convention.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'll have to look at that.
Okay.
I think what we were missing was like standees, the big giant standees of Barbies and Friends. Like they're really cool things that other conventions have done before for Barbie, where they've made like a whole hallway room painted to look like a cafe or something like that Barbie would be at.
I think that's it. I think it was kind of missing the celebration aspect of Barbie, like celebrating all of the eras that it is.
I mean, the table
Centerpieces?
centerpieces. I didn't think they were that great.
I didn't like half. I liked the final one-ish, but I wasn't crazy about the first two.
No, and it just wasn't something that was fun.
I wasn't disappointed that I didn't win the first two.
You liked the one that was like a moon or
I
whatever.
liked the moon one. I thought that was pretty.
But one had two people in it. Had the boy and the girl.
Yeah, I didn't really like the guy
Yeah,
though. The
yeah,
girl
it
was
wasn't
pretty, but I didn't like the guy.
Yeah. And as usual, they you can get your doll signed by different people. It wasn't a big thing when I first went there, where you brought all your dolls. You know, it's kind of like going to a Comic-Con and people are bringing their box of comics that they want one person to go and sign all of. People were going, well, I've got this doll and that doll and that doll, and I'm going to bring those in and get them all signed. I don't get mine signed.
No.
I don't sign the certificate. I don't even keep the boxes usually anymore.
I lose the certificate.
Yeah,
I should have gotten this one signed in case I sold it, but otherwise.
But it's not something that's needed, but there are still people that to them, that's the thing they need. They need everything signed. They're all excited to get their signatures, but
yeah.
it's not something that's needed.
I don't know, but I'm hoping it's around 10, 15 years from now. I definitely think they need to think about how it is and maybe like flip the script a little bit on some of the things that they traditionally do.
Maybe it'll be about skyscrapers.
Yeah.
No more roaring 20s.
But some, like you said, some celebration of like Skipper and Francie, and like the educational aspect really is what I really wanted. I just wanted someone to just a case of like Barbie, her friends, like her like interesting foreign things.
But see, the one that I went to, It actually was. It was Barbie and Skipper, and they were having the picnic. They were having the picnic. But everybody else who decided to make things for it, they made more things that looked like flappers. Because that was, to them, that was Chicago.
Yeah. And this one was definitely flapper centric.
This one was definitely, yeah. And, or flapper in mourning.
Yeah. Black. I mean, did they wear a lot of black? I'm sure they did. But
They
also
did wear
they
a lot
wore
of black. They
colors.
wore colors too, and they wore suits, and there are a lot of classier ones they could have used.
It's been a while since the show, and like I feel like we've both been marinated on it.
Yeah.
You know, it was fun. I'm excited. I'm glad we got to go. I'm glad I got to go with my mom. Like she said, if it did come around again miraculously in the next couple of years to here or like Wisconsin or something. Well, Wisconsin we would have to stay in a hotel. But if it did come around to someplace close, I would probably consider going back just because it was kind of fun. I would definitely room sail and do the free vendor day if we didn't actually go.
And the ad book needs something different in it. I mean, I understand ad books. I went to Catholic school. We had to do ad books for high school all the time. And it's just your name, and you buy a slot, a square, and it's just a book full of names, advertisements in there. But the Barbie one, I expected to be a little bit extra, maybe an article here and there.
I thought the schedule would be in it.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought too.
Right?
It was supposed to be because they kept telling us you'll get that as your welcome.
We got a schedule that was on like this big,
This
and
big,
like
yeah.
size like 2 fonts.
Right. And I didn't even think of that because they said you'll get that when you get there. But that little thing, that was more like an update.
And and it was like, honestly, your demographics are not the age that's going to read this like size 2
No,
font.
I can't read.
I mean, goodness gracious. At least do like a half page. But I thought it would be in the program booklet. And then with like this people they wanted to thank personally, like I thought they would just be more in it than just the ads.
Well, interviews too. Like you said that you offered, if you could do an interview with somebody if they'd like. But no one ever got back in touch with you.
I did. I offered that well before the show started, and then they were like, "Look, we'll touch base later." And
They never touched base.
no one touched base.
So they didn't think that was interesting enough, I guess. I think they were behind on a lot of things.
I think maybe there was some chaos going on.
Yeah, a little chaos.
Which happens, I'm sure, to a bunch of people.
Oh, yeah.
But that's kind of like our experience with the National Barbie Convention for 2022.
Yeah.
I know it's been a lot of talking, and you're probably not even watching at this point. But
Probably watching the baby. That's okay.
and like I hope that it was evenly balanced with like the positives and the negatives. But that was our honest experience with
Positives, buying things.
Well, and
Buying
also
things
meeting
good.
people, buying
Meeting
things,
people.
meeting people.
We were surprised people that would bump into us and then say, I like you guys.
Yeah. Right. Like that was great. And I do think there's some merit to like the dinner events. It's just certain things rubbed me the wrong way. And the table gifts, I think, are all positives. And the negatives we've already talked about. But, I hope that you don't think we're just negative Nellies. But that was just the honest experience.
Yeah, it was just our view of it, Like I said, I'm an oldie. I like pretty dolls.
Apparently so am I. So I don't think it's just an age thing. I think it's just an aesthetics thing. Which is fine because a lot of people like the doll. Personally, it's just not my aesthetic.
Yeah.
But I'm done talking about the doll. It's just going to go in a closet and, like, disappear.
You can have it, Lena.
Yeah, you want it? You want to play with it? There was someone that gave it to the barista. It was super funny.
Oh, yeah, that was funny.
We were at, like, the coffee shop, and, like, the barista was opening it, and someone had asked him how he got it. And he said someone just gave it to him as a tip.
Because he served her well the whole week that she was there, and he said, "Here, you can have it. You deserve it." And I told him, I said, "You might want to see how much they're going for."
Mm-hmm. It's like a $200 tip there, fella. Yeah. But, it was, like I said, a good time that I got to spend with my mom, which is all that matters. And it was a fun little vacation from the sleepless nights that this one gives me. So yeah, it was nice. Next time, I feel like we should do a big convention more frequently. Like we should do like the Sasha convention or like the BlytheCon or something. Like we should do them more frequently.
BlytheCon, where is it going to be this time?
I don't know, but it would be fun.
Sasha is going to be in Great Britain.
Well, that's 2 years from
Oh,
now.
that's 2 years.
I don't remember where it was, but it was kind of far.
Barbie's going to be in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Which people were ecstatic because they're all excited because they get a swimming pool.
And they get a screen in the bathroom,
And
a TV screen in the bathroom mirror.
Rosemont didn't have a...
They didn't have a pool.
They didn't have a pool. They didn't have anything.
Nor did they have a TV screen in the bathroom mirror. But it's also 4th of July weekend in Orlando, which is like the most horrible weekend I feel like in Orlando.
Yeah, that's not going to be good.
But there are other ones. We should look it up and see because I feel like we should go to some of these other ones and experience them.
I think we need to train your staff here for Lena first.
Well, we'll just go to ones she can come to. You don't even want to know what was going on when we were gone and other people were watching the baby. It was all fine. She was fine and healthy and fed. But I feel like she wore the same clothing every day of the week. But, that's...
It was washed every day, though.
She had fun, though. And we came back and she was basically walking. So that was an interesting experience. But that was the Barbie convention in a nutshell. Like I said, I hope you don't hate us for being negative Nellies, because I feel like we tried. We tried to be balanced.
Yeah, it's just our opinion.
But I feel like you guys watch because you like that we can be honest about certain things. So we're doing that.
Yeah, and we know that there is a lot that is entailed into putting something together like this. So we do know that.
Yeah,
You
that's just our opinions.
Right.
So let us know, I know some of you did go to the convention. Let us know what your, highlights were. Or, if there were things that bugged you a little bit, feel free to share those in the comments too. And if you are, if you have questions about the show and we didn't, talk about them in our many tangents here, feel free to ask in the description as well. But, and if you're if this is the first video you're watching about the Barbie convention coverage, you definitely want to go to my channel, check all the videos out, because there's a bunch of videos. I feel like I still need to do 1 or 2 of them with pictures and stuff, so you might see more. And then there's a video on my mom's channel as well, I think. Yeah.
And we're just a little slow on answering the questions and stuff on there.
I'm very slow.
She's very slow.
Very
I at least try to get a day in and do a bunch.
I read every one of them, though. So, check out the coverage if you haven't seen any of it. And, I guess until next time, we will talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.